He didn't see it coming, the way he suddenly changed. One day, he's warm, consistent, full of promises. The next, he's cold, distant, and quiet. It hits you deep, doesn't it? But here's something no one really says. What breaks you can also remake you if you let it. The same thing that made you question your value can turn into your greatest strength. If you learn how to confuse him by doing what he never thought you'd do, pulling your energy back. See, men who play games count on a reaction. They count on tears, on messages, on you reaching out, trying to fix things. But what they don't expect is silence, confidence, detachment. That's the real power of the unexpected. When you stop trying to win him back and begin focusing on winning yourself back, everything changes. He starts asking himself, why? Why isn't she coming after me? And that's when the confusion starts, because now your power comes back to you. This isn't about revenge, it's about choosing yourself. It's about taking the pain he caused and turning it into the push that helps you rise. When you confuse him by walking away from the game, you rewrite the whole story. You remind him that losing you wasn't just a passing moment. It was a major mistake. So if you're wondering what to do next, don't do anything. Just watch from here on. It's no longer about making him see your value. It's about you seeing it first. And once you do, your actions will speak louder than anything you could ever say. Let's start. When a man, especially someone you trusted, hurts you, the first thing your mind does is ask why. Was it your fault? Did you miss something? Were you not enough? And these questions keep spinning. That's how you end up stuck, blaming yourself. But hold on. Let's look at it differently. Because in many cases, it's not about you at all. It's about him. And what's going on in his own head? Here's the truth. Some men can't handle closeness. Real intimacy feels threatening to them. They want to be close until it gets too deep. Then they run this back. And fourth, isn't because you're too much. It's because emotional depth touches a part of them they haven't healed. Maybe it's past pain, fear of getting too open, or just their own ego. But the way they pull away, ghost you, or hurt you says more about their own emotional struggles than about your worth. Then there are the ones who hurt you because they want control. They like the power of getting a reaction, your tears, your doubts, your stress, to someone who lacks emotional maturity or has manipulative tendencies. That's fuel, not because they're evil, but because control gives them a sense of power in their world. Love turns into a battle of egos, and when they feel small, making someone else feel smaller gives them a brief high. And then you have the third kind, the man who didn't mean to hurt you, but did anyway. Why? Because he never really saw the real you. He saw a fantasy, something he wanted for the moment. But when it became real, he left. It wasn't cruel, but it was careless. And carelessness still leaves damage. And here's the part that stings the most. We usually accept the hurt because we're afraid of losing the small piece we've been given. So we hold on. We make excuses. We say things like, he's just under pressure, or maybe he'll realize things later. But let's be honest. He hurts you because he knows you won't leave. That's the painful truth. When a man knows he can treat you poorly and still have you around, the cycle repeats. Not always because he's fully aware of it, but because he's never had to deal with any consequences. The solution isn't revenge, and it's not playing his game back, it's breaking the pattern for good. It's seeing the moment he causes pain as the moment you wake up instead of fall apart. Because once you figure out the real reason, you stop thinking it's something wrong with you and start asking why you're giving so much to someone giving so little. Here's something important to remember. Hurting someone who loves you is easy when that person doesn't realize their own worth. So the change begins not with him treating you better, but with you seeing that you never had to be hurt to feel loved. You never needed confusion to feel a bond. Real love doesn't leave you guessing. It doesn't disappear. It doesn't make you feel like you're not enough. And once you get that, the game ends, the confusion ends, and your healing begins. You're not weak for caring. You're not foolish for falling, but you become powerful the moment you decide that being hurt is no longer something you'll accept, no matter how badly you hoped it would work. And that strength, that new energy, is what confuses him most. Now keep going, because you're about to understand how to respond with calm, quiet strength, the kind that makes him wonder what went wrong, while you're already moving forward. There's a moment after he causes pain where every part of you wants to act, to call him, to send a message, to explain how much it hurt. You think if you say the right words, he'll realize what he's done. He'll fix it. But here's the harsh truth. Reacting gives him power. It shows him you're still involved emotionally, and that puts him in control every time. That's why the most surprising and powerful move isn't loud. It's silence. Stillness, no reply. When you stop giving a reaction, something changes. He starts feeling unsure. He expects a message, a rant, an emotional storm. But when it doesn't come, he starts thinking, why isn't she upset? Why isn't she chasing? Did she move on? Your silence isn't just quiet, it's pressure. It breaks the pattern, because until now he's always known exactly how you'd respond. See, a man who messes with your heart counts on your response. That's how he knows he still has a hold on your emotions. Every time you explain, defend, or ask for understanding, you're showing him your heart while he stays emotionally closed. But when you step out of that space and stop giving him your time, your words, your energy, he feels the shift deeply, and it throws him off. Not because you're playing mind games, but because you've stopped playing his. Not reacting isn't about being cold or acting like you don't feel anything. It's about putting yourself first. Instead of trying to prove something to someone who already knew your worth and still hurt you. It's about keeping your peace, because peace is strength. And nothing throws off someone who expects drama more than calm distance. Let him feel the silence. Let him sit in the confusion while he's trying to figure out what you'll do. You're already creating a new chapter. That's how you take your power back. Not by asking for closure, but by closing the door yourself, quietly and with self-respect. Your silence is not empty. It's filled with self-worth. And maybe he'll try to contact you. Maybe he'll start sending little messages again, just to see if you'll respond. Here's the twist. You no longer need his attention, because the version of you that needed his validation, she's gone. She changed. The moment she stopped reacting. This doesn't mean you don't feel hurt or miss the side of him you cared for. But now you understand that reacting to pain doesn't heal it. It only keeps it going. And if you want to really move forward, really confuse him, and more importantly, really find your strength, you stay quiet, you stay calm, you stay focused. No more long messages, no more over-explaining, no more trying to prove your value, because here's the truth. The moment you stop reacting, you become unpredictable. And unpredictability is powerful. It makes people see you differently. It makes him realize he doesn't get to hurt you and still keep access to your heart. That's what makes him confused. That's what makes him feel the consequences. So don't talk, don't chase, don't explain. Let your silence say everything he needs to hear. Silence isn't just nothing. When used with purpose, it's a boundary. A strong message, more powerful than anything you could say. And when a man hurts you by ghosting, pulling back, sending mixed signals, or playing games, your silence can shift everything. That's what we call the silence flip. Here's where many get it wrong. They think silence means giving up, that not reacting means he wins. But the truth is, your silence means you're now in charge. The silence flip isn't about payback. It's about turning your focus back to yourself. And when you do, that it shakes up everything. When a woman who used to respond suddenly goes quiet, it's magnetic. It stops him. Because now he's not getting the emotional attention he once counted on. The texts, the calls, the tears, all gone. Now he's unsure of the control he thought he had. This silence is not emotional withdrawal. It's clarity. It's rooted in knowing your worth. And that kind of calm power is hard to ignore, especially for someone who believed he had you all figured out. The silence flip works because it triggers something powerful. Curiosity. People don't miss what's always available. They miss what they can no longer reach. When you stop justifying, stop reaching out, stop checking in, he starts asking himself, where did she go? Why is she different? Is she seeing someone else? Has she moved on? And even if he doesn't reach out immediately, he feels it. That's the shift. You went from expected to surprising, from open to guarded, from always there to out of reach. He doesn't have the emotional entrance he once had. And that shakes him, because for the first time, he's not in charge of how the story ends. But here's the best part of the silence flip. It's not really about him at all. It's about you. It's about taking back your mind, your emotions, and your peace, and letting your quiet speak the truth he ignored when he had your presence. Because silence doesn't mean you've given up. It means you're done trying. You're done proving. You're done being in something that was never equal. Silence gives you the space to hear your own voice again. It helps you stop chasing after closure and start building your own clarity. It's where your standards rise, your focus sharpens, and you remember you never had to fight to be valued. You just had to be respected. And don't be shocked if after some time he pops back up, texting, calling, saying he's been thinking. That's not love. That's confusion. That's him missing the effect of your presence, not the connection itself. So ask yourself, do you want someone who only values you after you're gone? Or someone who shows up while you're still there? The silence flip is powerful, but it takes strength. It takes you choosing peace instead of chaos, confidence instead of fear, and self-respect instead of temporary comfort. And once you learn this, you stop waiting for his message, you stop needing his apology, you stop hoping he comes back, because now you realize you don't want him. Not if it took losing you for him to get it. That's the strength of silence. That's the shift. And once you live it, you'll never return to begging. There's a moment, after all the crying, the wondering, the late night thinking, where you stop asking why he did this and begin asking why you allowed it. And that moment is when true detachment begins. And detachment is where your strength lives. Emotional detachment doesn't mean you don't care. It doesn't mean you're hard or unfeeling. It means you finally choose yourself over the mess. It means you're not tied anymore to hoping or wishing or trying to fix something that wasn't meant to be. You start seeing things without the excuses, without the hope, without the made-up stories. When you're still emotionally connected to someone who keeps hurting you, everything they do can ruin your day. One word, one silence, one cold message can break you. That's not love. That's dependence. That's letting someone else control your feelings. But when you let go, you take that control back. You stop checking for messages. You stop trying to read between the lines. You stop explaining the things they should have known already why. Because your peace matters more than their presence. That's what detachment is. Choosing calm over confusion, choosing self-worth over survival mode. Here's the truth. When you emotionally detach, you no longer need him to change in order to feel okay. You stop waiting for an apology because you give it to yourself. You stop hoping he chooses you because now you choose yourself. And that's where the real confusion begins. Because emotional detachment is quiet. You don't talk about it. You don't show it off. You don't even need to block him. Your energy just shifts and he can feel it. He won't be able to explain it, but he'll know something is different. You're no longer reachable. Not emotionally, not mentally, not spiritually. He might try to test it. Maybe send a random message. Maybe compliment you or act like nothing happened, but this time you don't respond. The same. You don't rush to answer. You don't rush to answer. You don't look for hidden meanings. You don't react because now you're not chasing any bond. You're guarding your peace. And that's what detachment gives you. Freedom. The freedom to leave without needing his validation. The freedom to stop asking for what should have been given. Freely, the freedom to stop lowering yourself just to be accepted. And this is when your real confidence begins. Not the loud type, but the kind that lives in your calm, that says, I know who I am and I won't settle for less. That's the energy that unsettles him. That's the kind of energy that makes him question how he ever believed he could let you go and still sleep peacefully at night. Getting there doesn't happen overnight. Emotional detachment is something you work on. You'll stumble, you'll miss him. You'll replay the good moments in your mind, but each time you notice yourself slipping and bring yourself back to reality, that's strength, that's healing, that's growth, and eventually you'll feel it. Peace. The kind that doesn't need closure, attention, or another chance. The peace that comes from realizing you're no longer connected to someone who couldn't value you the first time. So when he says, you've changed, just smile and stay silent, because he's right. You have changed. You're no longer emotionally open to chaos. You're now emotionally invested in your own well-being, and that is real power. What makes you truly unforgettable isn't your looks. It's not how many compliments you receive or how many men want you. It's not your clothes, your body, or your charm. True, lasting attraction, the kind that leaves someone regretting they ever let you go, comes from something deeper. It comes from how you carry yourself when you fully know your worth. A woman becomes magnetic the moment she stops hoping to be picked and starts picking herself. The moment she's no longer available for confusion, mixed signals, or emotional games. When you live with self-respect, it shows. It's in your quiet. It's in your limits. It's in how you respond with calm. It's in how you no longer chase anything that drains you. Men may be drawn to beauty, sure, but what holds them is something more powerful. Energy. And the strongest energy you can have is the one that says, I like you, but I don't need your approval. That calm strength, that quiet certainty, that steady presence that says, I'm already whole, and anything added must support my peace. That's what makes you unforgettable. You become magnetic when you stop trying to be the one for someone who's unsure. You shine when your actions, your words, and your expectations all line up to say, I love myself too much to settle. It's not about pretending to be hard to get. It's about becoming hard to access, because your energy is no longer available for just anyone. When a man starts to realize that he doesn't just get to have you easily, that he needs to earn you, protect your energy, and treat it with care, that's when everything shifts. That's when you stop being an option and start becoming the standard. That's when confusion turns into genuine desire. Not because you chased him, but because you stopped chasing anyone. The deepest kind of attractiveness comes from being emotionally independent. You're no longer scared to walk away. You're no longer hoping someone will recognize your value. You're no longer stuck on someone's potential. You're living in truth. And the truth is, when you begin showing up for yourself the same way you once showed up for him, everything around you starts to shift. Your glow changes. Your silence carries more meaning. Your presence becomes something rare. And here's the twist. Once you embrace that energy, the people who didn't see your value before begin to notice. They always do. But by then you'll understand that the real win wasn't them returning, it was you returning to yourself. Stronger, wiser, softer, but with clearer boundaries. What truly makes you magnetic isn't getting him back. It's the quiet strength that says, I would have given you my all, but now I give it to myself. It's the way you stay kind and composed, but never beg, never settle, never make yourself smaller. So if you're wondering how to stay on his mind, how to make him realize what he lost, stop thinking about him. Start rising so beautifully that he has no choice but to feel your absence. Let your energy speak louder than anything you could say. Because when you love yourself the way he should have, with consistency, with presence, with respect and depth, you become the woman no one forgets. That's what makes you powerful. If there's one thing Matthew Hussey teaches clearly, it's that your mindset is your greatest power. It shapes your standards, your boundaries, your relationships, everything. And the biggest shift you can make is not about becoming more attractive to others. It's about becoming more aware of your worth, with or without anyone else. That's the mindset Matthew talks about. You don't chase love, you draw it in by being completely aligned with who you are. That shift begins the moment you stop asking, why doesn't he want me? And start asking, why do I want someone who makes me doubt myself? That change alone shifts your entire approach to dating and relationships. Because instead of watching him, overthinking his actions, or trying to decode what he means, you start looking inward. You start asking better questions. Does this connection make me feel safe, valued, understood? Matthew often says, people treat you the way you train them to. That means your silence, your boundaries, your ability to walk away, they all send messages. If you accept inconsistency, you show them that's all they need to offer. But when you stop needing their attention and start raising your standards, people either rise to meet you or they fade out. That's the beauty of this mindset. It gives your power back. You stop trying to fix, change, or convince anyone. You allow them to show you who they really are, and when they do, you believe them. You no longer rewrite the story. You stop holding on to hope. You start trusting what's in front of you. That's where peace starts. And here's what's powerful. Once you live in that energy, you begin attracting people who match it. People who don't ghost you, breadcrumb you, or play games. People who show up for real. But that only happens after you make the internal shift. Not by learning tricks, not by memorizing responses, but by living and breathing your self-worth. When you love yourself enough to say, I want a relationship, but not at the cost of my dignity, that's where the shift happens. The Matthew Hussey mindset is not about playing games. It's about becoming unforgettable. Because of how deeply you love yourself, because of how rare it is to find someone grounded, emotionally mature, and unwilling to settle for shallow attention. It's about understanding that chemistry doesn't equal commitment, that just because someone feels good in the moment doesn't mean they're good for your future. It's about knowing your time, your energy, your love. These are valuable. These are not things to hand out easily. It's also about being honest with yourself, not blaming every man, not staying stuck in a story, but asking, where did I abandon myself while trying to hold on to him? That's not weakness, that's awareness. That's how change begins. Because once you know how you gave yourself away, you can start choosing a different path. And when you live that way, the confusion stops. You're no longer asking if he likes you. You're asking, how do I feel around him? You're no longer waiting for someone to choose you. You're choosing yourself and allowing the rest to line up naturally. That's the shift from scarcity to abundance, from needing love to becoming love. The Matthew Hussey approach isn't a trick, it's a lifestyle. One that turns pain into understanding, silence into power, and self-respect into your foundation. Because in the end, the relationship you have with yourself decides how all other relationships go. And that's solid. When someone hurts you, the first thing you might want is for them to understand what they did. You want them to see how much they hurt you. You want them to apologize, to change, to show they finally understand. But here's the truth. The strongest way to let a man feel your absence is not through words, not through confrontation, not by trying to prove anything. It's through disappearing. Let him feel the emptiness. Not because you yelled or posted quotes or sent a long message, but because you removed your presence. That's the real wake-up call. Because the truth is, most men who play games or leave without answers don't expect you to truly walk away. They expect you to pause, cry, maybe take some time, but eventually come back. They think the door will always be open, even just a little. So when you close it completely, without drama, without warning, and without begging, that silence is louder than anything you could ever say. This isn't about revenge. And this is about self-respect. Let him feel the loss by truly moving on. No checking his page, no asking mutual friends, no falling back into old chats. And when he pops up with a message like, "Hey, you good?" You don't owe him an answer. You don't owe him a breakdown. You owe yourself healing, growth, peace. While he's still out there thinking you're stuck, still waiting, still attached to her, you're already becoming a version of yourself he doesn't even know anymore. Someone he can't reach, someone who not only shines brighter, but lives better. Letting him feel the loss means you stop trying to explain your worth. You show it. You walk away quietly, calmly, and completely. Because you now understand your value, and that's what sticks with him. That's what he'll feel at night, lying in bed, realizing your silence is permanent. He'll go over your last messages. He'll look at your pictures. He'll remember how loyal you were, how deeply you cared, how much you gave. And he'll know he lost something real. By the time he's realizing that, you'll already be deep into your next chapter. Letting him feel the loss means you no longer bend your boundaries. You stop waiting to be chosen. You stop hoping someone finally sees you. Because here's the truth. You loved fully. You showed up. And if that wasn't enough for him, nothing you say now will change that. But your absence, that teaches him in a way nothing else could. That's the twist. Not anger. Not drama. Just distance. You stop being one of many. You start becoming your own priority. And when you do that, you won't have to try to make him regret losing you. He just will. Not because you tried to make him regret losing you, but because your silence echoed louder than any apology he never gave. Let him sit with that. Let him feel the emptiness where your presence used to be. You don't have to chase answers. You are the answer. You reach the end of that story. And that alone speaks louder than any words. It means you're not here to stay in old patterns. You're not here to keep repeating the same storylines. You're here because, deep down, you've always known you deserve more. Not just more from others, but more from yourself. This is your moment to take back every piece of yourself you gave too freely. The parts of you handed away, just hoping to be loved. The energy you gave to people who didn't know what to do with it. The love you offered, thinking it would finally be enough. It was enough. You were enough. They just didn't have the capacity to meet you there. You were not too much. You were not hard to love. You were just no longer available for anything that makes you feel broken. That's your new baseline. That's your new strength. And it begins right now. No more shrinking. No more justifying. No more waiting on someone to treat you right. You are not someone's placeholder. You are not their second option. You are the blessing, the kind of woman who brings calm, depth, loyalty, and warmth. If someone can't see that, they don't deserve to be near it. And always remember, healing isn't about never hurting again. It's about learning how to protect your peace, even when you're hurting. It's about moving forward with both strength and softness. You don't need to harden to heal. You just need to stop allowing disrespect. Your path from hurt to strength won't always be smooth. Some days you'll feel heavy, some nights you'll miss him. But healing isn't about not missing him. It's about missing him and still not going back. That's growth. That's grace. That's your rise. This isn't the end of your story. This is the beginning of your next one. The chapter where you're no longer waiting to be chosen. You choose yourself again and again until someone comes along and says, I choose you too, fully and without hesitation. Until then, you don't sit in loneliness. You sit in peace. You build, you grow, you fall in love with your own life. You become the version of you once thought you needed someone else to become. The power was never in him choosing you. The power was in you choosing yourself again. So if no one has said it to you today, you're doing better than you think. You're healing. You're rising. And you are worthy of a love that never leaves you guessing. Keep going. Keep glowing. Keep choosing you. This is not your ending. This is your rebirth, and the best part, it's only just starting.